Okay, this is the engine compartment of a 1970 Cuda Convertible. This is not the correct power plant that this guy was released with. It started life as a 318 car, but today it is a 383 4-barrel on it. So it's the same as it would if it would have been an N-code car to start life at this point. It has a heavy-duty 8 3/4 rear end in it. It presents itself as a 383 N-code Cuda at this point. So that's what we're going to show you. It's got a 383 cast iron intake manifold, 4-barrel. Cast iron exhaust manifolds, has an aftermarket set of chrome valve pan covers on it, an unsilenced 14-inch air cleaner. It has a Carter AFB Edelbrock 4-barrel carburetor on it, Prestolite distributor in it with the correct Prestolite cap and style wires too. How about that? New alternator, new water pump. It does have power steering and it has power brakes also. Dual stage master cylinder. A new battery just installed in it. Let's see what we have. Original washer bottle still on the fender just the way it should be. The heat to the passenger compartment is still hooked up and functional as it was when the car was produced. Fender panels on the inside are painted semi-flat black, as is the cowl area, which is normally going to be this color of orange that Mopar did. But this adds a lot of pizzazz to it, you know, doing the engine compartment itself in flat black as opposed to painted the same color as the car. They did the same treatment underneath the hood here. It does have a isolator hood pad on it. Radiator core support is original. I don't see anywhere it's been disrupted in any way. It has new hoses top and bottom for the radiator. I don't see anything leaking whatsoever on this engine. Top of the motor is just as fresh as can possibly be. It's a nice looking engine compartment. It's a 383. It would be a 335 horse 4-barrel car. It's going to present itself as an N-code original Cuda, but you're not going to pay 90 or 100 grand for the car. That's going to be the main difference. Condition-wise, you will not find a nicer car than this. Substantial horsepower. I don't see anything in this engine compartment that's out of place. Everything is as it should be. A new wiper motor also, a new electronic regulator. Everything has been addressed in this engine compartment. It's just as fresh and clean as you'd ever hope to find one. We're going to go around the rest of it now. Hi, you're at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and this is a really neat looking car. Everybody got to love this thing. 1970 Cuda Convertible. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the best color combinations you could ever hope to find. You know, orange and black. How much better can it get than that? It is a Cuda 383 style hood. The paint on this thing is absolute show quality. It is just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. And look at the fit and finish on this thing. The whole car is this way. I drove this car for a few days and absolutely fell in love with it. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. Absolutely fantastic. No dinghies, no marks, no scratches, no scuffs, no nothing on the car. It's just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. This finite trim that goes around the entire grille surround is just as fresh as you'd ever hope to find. It's not nicked or marked. No stone dinghies through the ears. The argent finish is just the way it was on this plastic part. The grille inset is black just the way it was. Plymouth designation on it. You can't see them, but there are parking lights up in here. Nice clear lenses on them. This entire grill area is just as nice and fresh as you could ever hope to find one. The bumper fitment on this thing, I noticed when I was driving it, this side here needs to come out just a little tiny bit. It's good this way, laterally, but it has to come out just a hair on that side. It's about, I don't know, a quarter of an inch in too far. You really don't notice until you look down on it, and that's when you see the issue, which we're going to do. The grill piece that goes underneath the front bumper, which is usually missing on these cars, is nice and it's not cracked or distorted. Still has the argent finish on it the same way as the grill area itself does. Front valance, there's no dents or marks or pulls or anything whatsoever on it. This car is absolutely a stitch. I mean, I love driving it. The paint on this car is to die for. I mean, it is as nice as you'd ever hope to find on any car. I don't care what it is. Nice front end. Let's go down the driver's side. Okay, driver's side of our 70 Cuda convertible. Side marker lamp in the front. Look at that. Absolute perfect fitment. Where the fender transitions onto the front valance, can't even feel it. Wheel lip molding. No dinghies. No dents whatsoever. Look at this. Look at the fitment on this thing. Absolutely fantastic. Cuda 383 designation. Okay, trim around the front window. No dinghies, no marks. Correct arms, incorrect blades. These blades should be an argent color. They are a metal blade, but they're not the correct ones. They should be argent finished. I have to get Donnie to put a set of those on for you. VIN plate just nice and legible as it was when it was new. The dash itself, there's no distortions or cracks or chips or waves or anything in it. Nice looking dashboard. Tinted glass. It's got a sunshade fade on it with a tinted windshield and apparently tinted glass on the sides too. Convertible top is absolutely just as fresh and clean and new as you could ever hope to find one. I don't think there's a single mark on it. Front fender to the door. Look at this. Down to the rocker panel. Still have not found a chip or a mark or a dent. I'm trying to find dents. I can feel them. If I can't see them, I can feel them. Door fitment, look at that. It cannot get any better than that. And look at the window, front window to the rear quarter window, just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Wipes, whiskers, nice and fresh. Door handle, no patina on it. And again, it's convertible top. It's just as nice and tight and new as you'd ever hope to find one. When you're driving this car with the top up, you don't even know it's a convertible. That's how nice this car is fitted. Glass window in the back, don't have to worry about that thing ever scratching or distorting for you. And again, look how tight everything fits on this car. Everything is a very, very precise fitment on it. Wheel lip molding in the back. Nice as you'd ever hope to find. That is tin. There is not a single spot of Bondo anywhere on this thing. The hockey type stripe on it, 383 designation in the back. Side marker lamp in the back. Again, nice precise fitment just as it is in the front. When I'm standing back here, this car doesn't have doors on it. It's just one solid, just complete tangerine color the whole way down the side of it. Fantastic looking car. Set of 14-inch original equipment style Kelsey Hayes wheels that this car would have come with. That style of wheel with the trim ring, and that is a correct center for a Mopar Kelsey wheel. So this would be a correct style wheel for this car in 1970. Nice set of fat white leather radial tires on it. Fantastic driver's side. Phenomenal front end on this car and a flawless convertible top. Let's go out back, see if there's anything back there to show you. Okay, the rear section of our 70 Cuda convertible. Look at the fitment of this deck. It cannot possibly get any better fitment-wise than that. That is absolutely phenomenal. Added rear spoiler, which was an option back then. The paint on this car, I know it's difficult to see in the video, but I'm telling you, the paint on this car is absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Trim around your tail lights. No patina. Flat black through the rear section, as it should be. Cuda designation. This side's the same as the other side. The lenses themselves are nice and clean. There's no milkiness whatsoever to them. Again, we're back to this finite trim around the back, the same as they have in the grille in the front. Plymouth paid a lot of attention, and so did Dodge, to the amenities on these vehicles that other companies just did not do. They added a lot of fine little things to them that gave a lot of definition, cost a lot of money too, and add a lot of character to these vehicles. Bumper fitment in the back. And that baby's right on the money. It cannot be any better than that. Correct rectangular pipes out the back through the valance the way it should be. The valance itself has no pull marks or dents or anything on it. The bumperettes that transition down from the bumper and go into the filler hole still have the original filler material, the rubberous, fibrous material that goes between them and the braces that incorporate the bumper guards, you want to call them. That is still on this car. A lot of them have it missing. That is still the way it should be. Back end of this car is, as the rest of it was so far, absolutely spot on. You cannot get a straighter, nicer, more finely fit vehicle than this so far. We got one more side though. Maybe we'll find something there. Okay, passenger side of our Cuda. Look at, again, this is the third side marker light, and it cannot get any better than it is. Absolutely cannot. Tin everywhere. Nice and sharp. Wheel lip molding. No marks, no dinghies in it. Trim around the back end. Same way, just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Again, our top, look how nicely that top fits with this vehicle. It cannot fit any better than it does. Just nice and tight and precise. Door to the quarter. Look. And look at the gaps on these things. Just totally amazing. No patina on the door handle. Window fitment again. Just as absolutely precise as you could ever hope to find. Chrome mirror to match driver's side. Trim around the front window, same as the other side. Got to change those blades. They don't look like black. They have to be argent. Wow. Look at this. Single mast antenna. Again, 4 for 4. All 4 wheel lip moldings, not a single deviation, not a single dent in any of them. Side marker lights. This is a Ford side marker light that fits absolutely precise. Nice flush fitment. And same thing on this, where the fender transitions over to the front valance. And no overhang, you can't even feel it. It feels like one piece of metal. The paint on this car is absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, we're back where we started. Back at the nose of this guy. I drove this car for a while. Whenever we got it in, I just grabbed it and I tried to take these cars for a few days and use them, see if there are any mechanical issues in them that we know we have to address, along with, fuel gauge is not working, speedometer is not working, just little things. Windshield wiper's not working. This guy was a phenomenal car. I really didn't want to give it back. I know after about a week, Jeff was, when are you giving that car? When are you bringing that car back? I need to get this thing cleaned up. So what you're seeing now, all he did was take this car and detail it. And that's all that it needed. It doesn't need anything more. The paint is phenomenal on it. It looks like it's a foot deep. You just watched me go over the entire vehicle. We didn't find a single stone chip, mark, dent, which I could feel, scratch, deviation in any of the panels. It's one of those cars that is a good car right when you first get it. It's a car that I really did not want to give it back. It's that nice a vehicle to drive. It's got tons of power. It lights up every time as soon as you hit the key. It drives nice, stops very well. It's a great handling, great driving car. It is not a correct N code car. If it was, you would be paying another $20,000, $30,000 over what you're going to pay for this car. But in every way, at this point, it represents itself as an N-code car. It does not have a 318 anymore. It's got a 383 in it now. It's got the rear end to go with it and a 727 tranny. Everything is the way it should be for an N-code car. The best color combination you could ever hope for, and the finest fit, quality finish that you could ever hope for in any muscle car you have in that vehicle right there. I didn't want to give it back, but I had to. Jeff was yelling at me. We just presented it to you, went over the entire vehicle. You watched Evan and I do it. He's going to show you about 90 photos of this car, still photos that you can examine and blow up, and they're high definition, so you can see every little tiny inequity that you would think you could look at. You could find fly dirt on this thing if you look close enough. We try to do that as well as we can, but in every video we do this to help you in your decision to purchase the vehicle from Hanksters. We know a lot of times you're in California or Washington State or Maine, you can't fly down, you've got family problems that you have to attend to, but you're interested in buying a car, and that's why we present these videos to you. And we do them as well as we possibly can and comprehensively as well as we can. So take a look at them. This car is available with about 70 some other ones at Hanksters here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Okay, this is the interior of one of my favorite cars, this orange 70 Cuda Convertible. The top must have been absolutely brand new, just freshly installed, because new pads on it. You can't see it, but I'm telling you they're there. There's new pads on it, new liner in it. The well in the back is absolutely as fresh as can possibly be. There's no deterioration or anything to the vinyl well where the top goes down into. All the trim has been refinished in semi-flat black or flat black, the way it was from the factory. The seats are all just as fresh and resilient as can possibly be, front and back. Back has seat belts in it, of course shoulder bolts for the front here for us, or seat belts for the front for us. Sun visors, no stitching coming loose whatsoever, still nice and resilient. The padding is just as nice as can be. The mirror itself, there's no milkiness at all on the mirror, and it is a day-night mirror the way it would have come from the factory. The door panels, there's no deterioration, no fading. It has the original molded style armrests on it. The back is the same way. Usually in the convertibles especially, these back side panels deteriorate from sun damage. And this car has absolutely none. They've either been maintained through the years or replaced. I can't really tell, but at any rate, they are as new condition. And again, the padding of the seats, front and back, you can see everything is just as fresh as it was when it was new. You got a huge glove compartment and a console here. You got another one with a light that works even in the dashboard. A trash tray that's never been used. The remote adjust mirror for the driver's side. Of course, they don't do that for the passenger side. The steering wheel itself, it's a wood grain wheel, and usually these things have a little crack here or there, shrinkage through the years. This one has none. It is absolutely as it was new in 1970. The resilient part of the center, the tri-spoke of the horn that works is just as nice and fresh as can possibly be. Wood grain on the dashboard and the wood grain on the console, which has the slapstick Mopar automatic shifter in it also. The same way, there's the wood grain is absolutely beautiful on it. Gauges themselves are nice and clean and clear. It does not have the rally instrumentation in it. It has a predominant speedometer in it with a trio of gauges in it. And trim around your brake, gas, and clutch pedal just as fresh as can be. The chrome on the door actuators the same way. There's no patina whatsoever on them. Window cranks, front and rear, are all nice and fresh and new looking. Padded dash, there's no cracks or anything in it. Loop pile carpeting in it, the way it came from the factory. I'll tell you what, door jambs just as fresh as they were in 1970 when it left Lynch Road or wherever this one was built. The rubbers in the doors and your window sills are nice and fresh and resilient. There's nothing that I can call a negative on this car, neither externally or internally. It's just as fresh and nice a car, and I know how it runs, so we're going to show you that in the video presentation. But this car is just as sweet a 1970 Cuda convertible as you could ever hope to find. It's a great car, and it's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach. All right, we're in one of my very favorite cars. And this is I used this thing for a while, and I didn't want to bring it back then. I know I'm not going to bring it back again now. It's a fantastic car. Everything in it works that I remember. Horn, everything is working good that way. As I said, the steering wheel is just absolutely like new. There's no deterioration whatsoever on it. Same as the dashboard. Turn signal to the left. You can see that it's functioning just as it should be. Turn signal to the right, doing the same thing. Are a little, somewhere close to a quarter of a tank, a little under of fuel. Temperature just starting to come up. We just fired this guy up. Amp gauge charging just the way it should be. Let's see here. Remote mirror works just like it should. Radio. What's the chances of a radio working, huh? Can you believe that? Original Mopar radio still working away. Look at that. Amazing. Slapstick automatic. Let me see what else we got here. There's really not much else for us to It's just a nice car. We're going to go for a ride. I really like driving this thing. It's fun. Nice running car. Goes down the road straight as an arrow. The shifts as nice as can be. Nice positive steering to it. And it doesn't wander at all. I don't know how much better you can get than this. Going around a turn, but I'm going to try. Well, we'll try brakes, no hands whenever we pull in. But look, I mean, it's just as nice a car as you'd hope to find. Okay, let's go here. Okay, let's try it. Brakes, no hands. Works fine. No hands on the brakes, and then we stopped and no issues. See when we get back before we get a torrential downpour. It's about due. I think it's up to 180 today. Could hit 200 down here by the weekend. Nice straight running car. Really nice running car. It's very positive. Nice tight car too. You know, no shakes or shimmies or wobbles or anything else. You go down the road with no hands. Straighter car could you possibly buy than this? I like this car. I don't want to give it back again. Okay, this is the undercarriage of our 1970 Cuda Convertible. Orange car. 383 at this point. Really neat car. Heavy duty sway bar in the front. You can see the engine has been out and completely freshened up. It is a 383. Little ding in the oil pan. Looks like somebody got mad and punched the bottom of the oil pan, but no leaks or anything. There's no leaks evident on the engine either, by the way, or the bell housing or the transmission. Standard cast iron exhaust manifolds on it. Look about a 2 1/8 inch pipes going into 2 1/4 inch pipes. That's what we're going to call them anyway. 2 1/8 into 2 1/4. Subframes in the front and the aprons that come down from your wheel wells are very good condition. A couple of very slight jack marks there, and the same here. You can hardly notice them, but there are just a very couple minute pieces. The skirt on this one's the same as the other one, and the torque box is in the front the same way, totally undisrupted. The tranny doesn't have any leaks. The tail shaft doesn't have any leaks. The lines on the transmission are the original steel lines going forward to the Mopar original equipment style radiator that's in this vehicle. Disc brakes in the front, fresh set of calipers on it by the way it looks. Rotors are new yet. They still have the silver plating on the inside of them. Steering box in this appears to have been replaced at one point. So it has a new Fitment arm and new liner arm. So we got this to the front. Conventional starter. Floor pans are very, very nice, and they are the original floor pans of this car. They have not been replaced. They don't have any issues whatsoever on them. I don't see any dents or deviations or issues whatsoever on them. Where they transition over to the rocker panel areas, you can still see the pinch welds still evident. Someone has replaced the brake line heading toward the rear. The park and brake assembly is the original park and brake assembly, and it's still hooked up and functional also. The floor pans are nice. They're really nice the whole way back. Wow. Really in great condition. You can see that they're totally undisturbed. Really nice set of pans on this thing. You can tell it didn't come from Pennsylvania or New York or Ohio. Torque boxes in front of the rear springs, which have a real nice arch to them yet. There are a multi-leaf spring system on this vehicle in the rear. And the shocks in the front were new, I forgot to mention. There's also new shocks in the back. These happen to be air shocks on this vehicle in the back. The torque boxes on the convertibles are always a larger style, fully encapsulated torque boxes. Huge set of drum brakes in the back, as big a wheel as you could, fit in that 14-inch wheel. It's fin drum in the back, pan in the back where it transitions up over and goes into the trunk. This is all nice and original. It's not disrupted in any way. The subframes, another little jack mark here, and another little jack mark here. Other than that, we're really lucky. There's not very many marks on this car from being jacked up through the years. The differential in the back, you can see there's no leaks on it either. It is a 489 casting, 8 3/4 heavy-duty Mopar rear end in it. They've chosen to go with a couple of cherry bomb type silencers. Actually, 2 here and 2 back there. So it gives it a nice deep rumble. Breaks up the exhaust pulses and it has a real nice sound to it. Not objectionably loud, which you'll see here shortly. It has a real nice rumble to it. The subframes in the back where they transition over the rear differential, no marks whatsoever, absolutely none. And they still retain their original bolt-on brackets where the factory hooked these things on in shipment because they had an issue with hooking it into the holes in the frame. They tightened them down a lot of times too much, or if it was in transition, the vehicle would move back and forth and it would start to tear the frame in places. So Chrysler had an issue with that and decided in the back to put a set of stamped steel brackets that bolt on. You can take them off if you wish, but they are on there now. And actually they used them, whoever puts this exhaust system on, because it should have 2 mufflers in the back. Whenever they eliminated them and made this custom exhaust system, they're using them actually as hangers for the rear exhaust that goes out the back of this, which are the correct rectangular tips. Gas tank is original, or it could be a replacement. I can't really tell. There's no dents or marks or anything in it. Floor pan for the trunk itself is the same way, just as really nice and clean as you'd ever hope to find one. The quarters, the drop downs and the quarters that transition down are just as fresh and clean as you could ever hope to find. Still has the pinch welds on them. And your little sandwich pieces where their trunk pans go together to them, you can still see all the pinch welds evident there also. This is a nice straight car underneath. Has a huge set of tires in the back, brand new round of rubber all around it, but the tires in the back are much larger than the ones in the front. Has a really nice look to it. And again, what's really nice about this is you can see that the vehicle just has no deterioration through the years. The important thing is the floor pans still have all their original integrity. They are not rotted out, they're not distressed in any way, they don't have any type of scale or no issues whatsoever. All the spot welds, everything is still evident. This is a nice car underneath, really nice car. I know it's a lot of fun to drive because I stole it for a while. They didn't want to give it back. Take a look at it. It's on your Hangster's website. Fantastic little convertible.